Last week, I posted a headline where Courtney Kardashian says, "Why do kids effing go to school?" And I just thought it was funny that she was preaching about this when she knows nothing of what the real world requires. And I got a comment from a friend of the show, Zernu, saying, apparently Courtney's kids are so unruly, they bite and kick babysitters so much. The babysitters have quit. Gentle millennial parenting at its finest. I guess they also can't read. So I saw this comment and it kind of sent me down a rabbit hole where I wanted to find out if this was true. Are Courtney's children actually a nightmare to be around to the point where they can't keep a nanny and they're abusing the nannies? Yeah. That sounds insane. So I went down the rabbit hole and I found out a lot more about the Kardashian family nanny process than I anticipated. And here's the truth I found in that statement. So the sisters have spoken about issues they've had with respective nannies in terms of their own kids' behavior. In one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Courtney explained a situation where her daughter Penelope scratched their nanny. It eventually led to the nanny quitting. Kim shared a story of her own daughter, North, telling their nanny to go home and that she didn't need her. Courtney's parenting style has been criticized by Kim, who said that she can't keep a nanny due to her children misbehaving. Kim's comments seem to have been backed up as a source told one publication. Courtney goes through nannies frequently. She either fires the nannies or they get fed up with her children misbehaving and quit. Courtney isn't a fan of rules, including bedtimes, and said her home is always full of chaos most days. So her kids rule the house.
I feel like in the movies or a television show, what it is like you have like a really good nanny that the family really values. And there's a story around that, where in this, it's just terror everywhere. Yeah. And nobody gets along and they don't want to put up with it.
They're constantly cycling through nannies, not just Courtney, but the rest of them as well, according to the rumors. It is really hard to come across any validated information about the nannies in the Kardashian family because, first and foremost, these nannies are subject to very strict non-disclosure agreements, very strict confidentiality agreements. I'm sure it's just pages upon pages of contracts that they have to sign just to start a job like this.
So you're saying that there's 15 things that they have to do every day and they don't get paid very well for this.
They don't get paid well enough. It's not just that they pay women to raise their children. They also pay women to gestate their children. And we don't know anything about the surrogates either. They're certainly not paid enough either. Market rate for a surrogate is something between $60,000 and $100,000, I believe. On the high end, it's in the multiple hundreds of thousands for a surrogacy. But these nannies reportedly make $100,000 a year. If you nanny for the Kardashians.
If you're living in California, that's like $1.
How do you even live? And there are some that live in the property with the family and others that don't, but that's still not enough compensation for the hell that they go through behind the scenes. First off, they go through an insane vetting process just to get selected for the job. It's basically like auditioning. It's in some words, demeaning, as one put it. So if the candidate buys products from Kim Kardashian's cosmetic line, for instance, that is a bonus point on your resume. You're more likely to get the job if you buy products from the Kardashians and are an avid fan of theirs.
It's so weird. Somehow I feel like I would, if I was the Kardashians, I'd want it to be different. I'd want them to be like more detached from me.
It's like choosing someone in a jury trial. Yeah. You better hope that they don't know anything about you. There are also rules to be followed by future babysitters. A competition in the candidacy, as unrealistic as it may seem. These selected nannies must work under the cordon sanitaire policy. That is, they have to be at a distance that respects the private space of the mother and child. And that even means that when the nannies accompany one of the Kardashians in public, they have to form a V formation. The posse of nannies in order to not obstruct paparazzi photos, has to remain in a V formation behind the Kardashian sister in question.
They probably hire the Secret Service to teach them like the opposite of what they do.
Well, I mean, these nannies actually seem more disciplined than the Secret Service. If you have seen that story yesterday about a couple of female Secret Service agents getting into a brawl outside of Obama's house,
like,
at 3 a.m.
My favorite part of that story was like it was over somebody just being late for their shift. I love the mundane nature of it.
Clownish.
That they're just like, she keeps being late for clock in, so she just decks her.
I mean, yeah, I think you could actually find more discipline and militaristic styles of work in the nannies hired by the Kardashians than the actual Secret Service at this point. But one requirement, of course, is that the nannies for the Kardashians are on call 24/7. You have just given up your entire life to this family. You cannot have any other priorities because this is you sacrificing all of your personal obligations to dedicate your entire life to this job.
It makes me think of all the stories about the women who ended up working for like some fashion designer or fashion magazine editor, and they have to live in New York City and they make like $60,000 a year.
Insane.
And they have to live with 9 roommates.
Now again, that's not confirmed, but it does say, for instance, with the nannies hired by Kanye and Kim back when they were together, they employed 3 nannies at once who were constantly on call and each earned $100,000 a year. Like, that is just not...
People in the chat are kind of going back and forth about what 100K means. 100K, if you're in Calabasas, is it's below poverty wage. It's nothing out there. It's like 100K out here. That's a lot of money. It's a good amount of money. 100K in Southern California is nothing.
Especially considering just the amount of dedication that this specific job requires, where you have to be available constantly. You never clock out.
And you have to drive. Hopefully they live on property, because if you drive to work with $7 gas per gallon.
You also, being a nanny for the Kardashians, have to keep up to a certain standard of dress. You have to be keeping up with the fashion trends, do your hair similarly to the Kardashians. So that requires another expense on its own. But you also can't be too hot. The attractive nannies are banned. They're blacklisted. They have a specific rule against this. Kim specifically would not hire attractive nannies. If they're attractive, they're banned from being a nanny for any of her kids. This was specifically after Kim welcomed their 3rd child when she was with Kanye. She justifies this ban by telling friends and family that she's trying to spice up her marriage and doesn't want Kanye's eyes wandering from her. The nannies that Kim has hired are pretty plain. She doesn't want to make any mistakes like other celebrities whose marriages have been spoiled due to attractive nannies who used to work for them. I think that was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, he
right?
cheated
He cheated with a nanny.
Yeah, he did.
I'm sure that's not the only example out there.
Yep.
So that's a very specific requirement. But yeah, you do have to be fashionable. You're not allowed to wear jewelry during the daytime because it's seen as a way to attract robbers.
That makes sense. And Kim had that whole thing that happened where she got
incident.
robbed. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And if nannies break rules around confidentiality, they're met with severe consequences. They're not allowed to use their phones around the kids because of confidentiality. They're not allowed to take photos.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And I don't think they're allowed to make any phone calls unless it's for an emergency.
If you really think about it, any photo they took would be worth more to TMZ than what they're making.
Yeah.
Like a photo from inside the compound that the parents did not authorize of them with the kids could sell to TMZ for thousands upon thousands of dollars.
But another point of controversy around the nannies is that they're never featured in the reality show with the family. Even though they're around constantly, and they're especially around the kids constantly, they are never featured on camera in the reality show because they're portraying this image that the Kardashian moms are doing it all.
Yeah.
They're running the business, and they're doing the reality show and their social media campaigns and the parties, and they're also full-time moms, and they just are girl bosses who have it all and do it all and lean in every direction. But the reality, of course, is that is not the case, and they can run away from those obligations anytime they want with on-call staff.
Yeah.
So some people feel like it kind of disregards the value of the work that the nannies put in to completely keep them off camera.
I mean, they're
think
not
it's more
getting
safety related.
It's safety related, and you're not getting paid to be
Yeah.
on camera. You're getting paid to do something specific. If
Right.
the parents kind of twist that to make themselves look better, that's within their rights. You don't have to take the job.
They're also responsible for dressing the kids fashionably, and I don't know how you can make sure it's the perfect sad millennial beige. But if you make a misstep in that regard, your job's in jeopardy, so you better know how to dress a child in high fashion. You also have to take care of the pets, not just the kids. Here's another one. No matter what the parents say to you or how mad they get at you, you have absolutely no right to question them. So, for instance, being a nanny, you may not approve of the clothes that one child is allowed to wear. You may not like the fact that Courtney lets her kids sleep in the bed alongside her, but nannies have to keep all disapproval to themselves and keep their mouth shut. You have to smile at the craziness and do everything you're asked to do.
I feel like once you've nannied at that level, you could just go on and find a much less insane family to go be a nanny for.
For this pay, absolutely.
Yeah.
$100,000, I think any upper middle class family, if you're talking about what's upper middle class in Calabasas, could definitely pay you better than $100,000 a year.
Upper middle class, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably with less insanity surrounding it.
Yeah. And I think that they actually probably are treated badly behind the scenes because the Kardashians don't see them as people.
Yeah.
They see them as peasants.
Well, everybody's been propagandized into think that all rich people treat their butlers like Bruce Wayne treated Alfred.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's necessarily true.
Here's another one. Courtney is the most difficult boss. One nanny says she asked me to call her madam at all times. I once slipped up and called her Courtney, and she threw a hissy fit. I never made that mistake again. These are the kinds of demands they're demanding to be called madam, but they won't even discipline their children.
Yeah, that's vapid rich celebrities. It makes perfect sense to me.
Like, I just think they could make their own lives a lot easier if they parented their children well in the first place.
They don't have the time for that. A 20-page booklet full of rules is funny because I want to know who wrote it.
I mean, probably the nanny that got fired.
The very first nanny wrote it,
Yeah?
and then they've been using that as like their children raising Bible since then.
Yeah, this says, unlike other celebrities, Kardashians have gone a little far with rules for nannies. Once they're hired, they're given a textbook of 20 pages that contains custom rules they have to follow to the letter. Every parent wants what's best for their children, but coming up with a textbook must be a little weird. Imagine the nanny's face when she realizes she'll have to go through the rules over and over to perfectly remember them. It includes rules such as taking care of the children's skin several times a day, complex 20-step skincare routines from Korea, taking them to the gym, giving North a massage in a specific way, rules about the way the nannies are supposed to dress, and more. So it's not really just about how you raise the kids, it's also about how you represent the family in public, because you're going to have paparazzi taking photos of you. Just all of the privacy and safety concerns and the fact that you're getting demeaned to this level, they really deserve to be paid more than $100,000 a year. I know, like, some people think that is too much. I disagree. I think that they're not compensated properly, if that number is to be trusted.
I mean, that is the essence of the free market, though. What are you willing to put up with for that salary? And that's what they're doing.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.